Welcome to Creating Stuff. My name is Jim. Behind me is my project truck, Inferno. It's a 1992 Toyota pickup that I have been building for over a year. So the last episode, I achieved a real milestone and I got the engine to run. I had to know that the engine was good. That was the first time I ever heard it run. So that was a very big success. Very happy about that. But this episode, I'm moving onward, is now that the engine is good, I gotta make sure the transmission is good. So basically, the biggest thing I'm doing this episode is I have to build a driveline for it. Basically, I'm not gonna worry about the front drive shaft yet because the front and rear axles are mismatched gears, so four-wheel drive does not exist. It shouldn't be used right now. So I'm just going to focus on building the rear drive shaft, among other things. I've got a few things I got to work on underneath the truck. So, and tell you what, before I dive into what I'm doing in this episode, I want to show you, since the last episode, as you can tell, if you watch the last episode, you can tell I've done a few things to it, just tidying things up, and I just want to show you what I did. And you'll notice the big thing is I put the hood back on and I put the passenger door back on. So like I said, I don't need them off right now, so putting them back on the truck keeps them from getting damaged. So tell you what, let's just get into this video. I'm going to show you the things I did off camera since the last episode, and we'll get into what I'm doing now. Well, I'm going to start showing you what I did inside the cab. Obviously, I put the door back on. I put the seat back in. Best place for them right now. But the biggest thing I did is I cleaned up my wiring a little bit. Not a lot. I still have a little bit more I have to do. I still have to mount this ECM, and then also I'm going to make a cover that will cover up all these wires. I did go ahead and I wired in my neutral. That's the relay down there. I put in a neutral interlock, so the engine can only be started when the transmission is in park or neutral. And these wires over here, these are just loose for future use. That's going to be for the switch and indicator for the overdrive off, along with the switch and indicator for the transmission shift mode, power or normal. Along with the black wire, that's for my tachometer, which the wire going into the harness where it was supposed to be, there's an issue with it, so I got to take the dash apart and actually go directly to the tachometer back of the gauge cluster. So I don't know what's going on with that right now, but but this wire has been confirmed that that is my tach signal from the igniter. So anyways, so clean the interior up just a little bit, not too much. Keep in mind, this is far from done. But once again, I'm just cleaning up after I had my big milestone. Now let me show you under the hood. See, even my factory ignition buzzer still works. All right, now since I'm under the hood, made a little bracket that secured my airbox in place. This does not look pretty. Both the clips broke off, so I just sunk some screws in here. This box is a little hard to find apparently. I was looking for a remanufactured one. They make a different style, not this style. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet, but this is going to work for now. Probably one of the big things I did is down here in this corner. You can see is I actually 3D printed a nice bulkhead fitting for the engine wiring harness going through the bulkhead. It actually has a nice little spot. It's a little hard to see, but it has a nice little backer on it where zip tie is holding it, matches the hole very nicely, and two clamping bolts that clamp it tight. I wish if I think of it, I'll show you what the model looks like on a computer screen, and like I said, pretty happy with that. So, and then just then some of the smaller things. This is something I'm going to have to do in this episode, is this coil, this plug right here, and this coiled harness that I made. This right here. This is for the speedometer. I actually had to, the harness where the speedometer went into the transfer case tail housing, it was completely, I mean, went with the engine transmission out of this truck that I never got. So I actually had to chase the wires down, tie into them. Like I said, I've already plugged the speed sensor into this, and I got the needle speedometer to move, so I feel confident it's going to work. So I just got to put a speed sensor in the transfer case, but that's something, another item that I'm going to be doing on this episode. All right, well, those were the few things I did off camera. So tell you what, now it's time to put this truck on the rack, get it up in the air, and most everything I'm doing in this episode is going to be underneath. So tell you what, let's get the truck up in the air and let's get to work. Now that I got the truck up in the air, now I'm going to show you some of the small things I have to do under here. Here is the first one, is the pigtail for this speed sensor on the tail shaft of the transmission. Pigtails broke off. I've got a replacement. I just have to splice it and put it on. That's pretty straightforward, just in a tight spot. So the next thing I have to do is I have to put a speedometer drive unit right there. I have to put this in here and then run the harness that I made from the engine compartment down here. The reason this transfer case did not have it is because the truck this came out of had anti-lock brakes. So if you have anti-lock brakes, the speedometer gets a speed signal off of the ABS, not the sensor. So the only trucks that use this sensor are the ones that do not have ABS. So this truck doesn't. So once again, luckily I got that provision to put it in there. So, well, that's just kind of straightforward. Now let me go ahead and show you what I got in store for the rear driveline. Well, now I got some parts to start putting a drive shafts together. This is an intermediate shaft. This is off of Tacoma. I have to get this shortened by about 10 inches. So the center support bearing will actually land in the factory mounts. I was thinking about trying to make the rear main drive shaft interchangeable with the front, but I'd have to get it even 4 inches shorter than that. So I don't know, my gut feeling says I'd rather keep this one a little bit longer. Would have been nice to have interchangeable drive shafts. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. So, but so this has already been measured. I got to take this to a drive shaft shop, get it. It's going to have to get retubed because Toyota, they like to have the bell-shaped tubing. So unfortunately, to shorten it, you got to retube it. If it was straight, like if it was not bell-shaped like this one, they could literally just cut it 10 inches shorter and weld the yoke back on, be done. But that's not the case with this drive shaft. So I have to get that done, and I have to get that done before I measure for the rear, to get the rear drive shaft made. I was originally planning on using Toyota double cardons, but I actually had a little flange issue. I couldn't get a, anyways, it's what it is. So basically I'm going to get drive shafts made with Spicer parts. Should be just fine. And then here's the parts that came in today. I got 2 flanges. This is a flange to go on the Dana 60, front and rear. I got 2 of them, and this has the 4-bolt pattern to keep it, just to keep with Toyota. I could have adapted to the U-joint in the back, but you know, I like having my bolt flanges. So I'll tell you what, I got Next step is I have to take this shaft to get it cut down, and then I need to go ahead and put these flanges on, attach them to the axle so I can get a measurement for the rear drive shaft, which I'm only doing the rear drive shaft right now just because the front and rear axles are not geared correctly. They're mismatched gearing, so I can't use four-wheel drive anyway, so there's no point in making a front drive shaft right now. I'm more important on being able to drive the truck to make sure that transmission works. So anyways, well, let me get to work so I can show you something. All right, a week has gone by, even though you may not have noticed it, but I've been busy doing other stuff and haven't been able to work on Inferno. But now I got some parts and I'm ready to have another big step in my Inferno project. And here's what I have so far. This is just an intermediate shaft off of a Tacoma. I had it cut down to shortened up to fit this mount. I do believe I'm going to redo this mount. I'm going to raise this up, but I'm going to put that put the rear shaft on, and then I'm going to make that decision. And I'll probably do that another time. So, and now I was originally planning on piecemealing a shaft together for the rear, but anyways, I just ordered one offline, had one custom made online with the appropriate flanges on either end, and a standard slip joint should work by my measurements. So tell you what, I'm putting this in. I'm dying to see this transmission will work. So let's get to it. All right, I got the drive shaft in. The drive shaft angle is not set just yet. Anytime you run a double cardan drive shaft, there's supposed to be no angle on this U-joint. It's the pinion shaft and the drive shaft are supposed to be straight. But you have to make that adjustment while it's sitting at ride height, like you're driving down the road, because that's the most important time when your drive line angles need to match up. So I have already loosened the jam nuts for my upper link on my rear suspension. So I'm going to set Inferno on the ground and make the drive shaft angle adjustment. Let's get to it. All right, I went ahead and adjusted my top link. So now I have no angle here. And I hardly have any angle up there. This is an oddity. So that support bearing, I'm going to probably raise that up. So I will probably make another adjustment there. And then also, anytime you're setting up your drive line angles and you have a leaf sprung vehicle, if you have a soft suspension like one of these trucks that you go rock crawling with, a lot of times I like to have that pinion angle down a little bit, because when you put torque to it and you drive it, it'll actually torque up when you put power to it. So that's just my little thing on what I like to do. But this is looking pretty good. I will probably make an adjustment in the future. That support bearing I'm going to probably raise up. I'll have a little bit more angle on that, less angle up there. And I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever set up a two-piece drive shaft for an application like this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and put this back up in the air so I can tighten the jam nuts up on that upper link, and going to see if this transmission works. So I'll bring it back when I'm ready to test it out. All right, now to see if this transmission even works. As you can tell, Inferno is up on the rack. I have no brakes. Inferno has no brakes, so I don't feel comfortable moving it because I have no way to stop it. I have no service brake, no emergency brake, nothing. And unfortunately, if this was a stick shift truck, like what I'm used to building, I'd drive it and wouldn't even think twice. All I have to do is turn the key off and the truck will stop. But with the automatic, this is not the case. So let me hop in the cab and let's see what happens. All right, I'm up in the cab. I did a little bit of work off camera. I wired in the switches for my overdrive off and my transmission power selection buttons and indicator lights. Got those in. I got my shifter knobs installed and I adjusted them. And then one small little thing that I like is that right there. I like my full drive indicator light to work. Don't ask me why, but I do. So I got that all wired up. All right, got transmission neutral. Let's fire it up, see what happens. Yeah, it fires up like it's supposed to. Oh, there's forward. There's reverse. Well, how do you like that? Well, how do you like that? The transmission does work. Tell you what, while we got it up on the rack, I'm going to run through some of my other transfer case gears. So, this lever right here, this is my single low. That's for the rear case. So I just put the rear case into low range. See what happens. Tires moving a little bit slower. Going back into neutral. I'm going to put the rear case back into high range. Now, this is my reduction box. This is a 4.7 to 1 gear reduction. Put it in drive. Going even slower. Put it in neutral again. Take the rear case. Now I'm in triple low. Now it's going even slower. That's pretty awesome. I'm excited for that. I need to get a muffler for this thing, but all in due time. All in due time. So this is going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Great progress. I really want to take the Inferno out and drive it right now, but because the transmission works in forward and reverse, I just don't know if any of the other gears work. The only way to find out is to drive it. And unfortunately, with no brakes, I cannot safely do that. I take a lot of risks, but that's not a risk I'm willing to take. So tell you what, you're going to have to tune into the next video for when I put brakes on this truck. And after I put the brakes on it, then I will actually get to truly test drive this truck for the first time. And I can start testing it, see how the suspension works, see how it handles, see how it drives. I'm very excited for that because I already have some suspension changes I'm thinking about, but I want to test it as is before I make any changes. So anyways, that's the end of this video. If you like the video, please like it, share it with your friends, and if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and like I said, it helps me out a little bit. But once again, I thank you very much for watching my videos, and I look forward to see you on the next one. Until then, be creative.